Hey everybody, how we doing? Welcome to the Triple Cross podcast. We are mid-draft right now. Your boy's actually on the clock as we speak. It's my turn to make a pick. We have CMC, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase off of the board. So it's up to me to make the next pick here. And I shall do that right now. We'll see if anybody else wants to join me here. I've got the best system I can kind of get going here as far as the draft board to show you guys what's going on with the draft. And I'll improve this kind of as we go throughout the show here. So bear with me. If nobody else is live with me on this stream, there might be some downtime as far as audio goes. But yeah, we'll just kind of play it by ear. Welcome to the 2023 live Triple Cross podcast draft. I'm going to see if I can fix these blank spots. I don't know why they're not showing up on the screen. So there we go. All right, looks like Felix's team is on the clock now. Looks like we probably have some auto drafters. Not 100% sure yet. We shall see soon. I should probably be more concerned with my draft than getting everything set up here, but you guys know how I do it here. If you jump on the stream, jump in the chat and say, hey, what's up? All right, here. I'll do a little recap when I get a chance here, guys. Be cool if somebody else is in the draft who wants to hop on. I know we have some viewers of the show live in the draft here. So if you guys want to, let me know. Actually, maybe I'll just drop this in, and you guys can come in whenever you want. I'll drop it into our draft chat here. You guys can join me on stage if you want. There you go, guys. I just dropped the link into our chat. Feel free to jump on in, join me on this draft stage. And it's probably time I look at what I'm going to do here, as I have nobody in my queue. Way to go, Casey. Okay, I'm back on the clock now. I think I know who I'm taking here. I have 15 seconds to make my pick. And yeah, we are going to go with Josh Allen. All right. Drafting is not convenient on a small 13-inch laptop, says Adam. Well, deal with it, guy. Drafting is also not easy when you're running a live stream here. Man, this is really disappointing. It looks like only certain colors are showing up on that draft presenter I put up. I don't know how to fix that. Hey, that might have done it. Did that work? It did. Look at that. Fixed it. Dark mode is cooler anyway. I'm going to go ahead and see if this looks any better. Yeah, that looks a little bit better, maybe. Maybe a bit. Anybody who's watching this stream, is that big enough for you guys to see? I can always make it a touch bigger. It's my turn to draft. All right, where do we want to go here? Where do we want to go, y'all? I'm not sure. How about we gotta add that guy, but that's not who we want. We're gonna get our guy here. We like Brees all around here, so we'll take him. All right, so a little recap here. Sorry for all the dead air, everybody. Jason's out of sight team is the first team. Here's the draft order really quick. Jason's out of sight team, 3 Walketeers, Mike from the chat, Casey, then Wesley, then Jedi Banana, then Kevin, then Roz, Rose, as we know her in the chat, Felix, and Adam. That is the order. And of course, it's snake order. So Adam would have the first pick in the second round. That's what happened. And you can see all 3 rounds here. I think I might make it a touch bigger on the screen for you guys. It's probably easier to see. Hopefully that works out. All right. All right, everybody. I don't have any other co-hosts on here, so I'm going to go ahead and remove myself so you can just see the full grid here. And I might hop on in between, but I'm going to try to get caught up on this draft here. All right, everybody. All right, I stayed off of the stream for a little while there, just so you guys, just so we could kind of just stay in draft mode. I saw some people were watching. I don't know if it was just the people in the draft, but I hope you all had a good time. I'll do a quick little recap of my team. Let's go ahead and pull them up here. They should be uploading anytime as the draft is over now. And we'll see if we can get that to happen. I guess I could just go to my team on here. All right, let's share this screen here. And if anybody else wants to share theirs, they could feel free to hop on here and do that too before we get out of here. But let's talk just a touch about this. I have another draft coming up actually today, but we can talk a little bit about this before we head out. We'll just kind of look at the projected stats here. That tells a good enough story, I think. Kind of surprising to me. Was in this super flex league, maybe not too many super flex drafters here, or a lot of like super flex veterans, maybe I should say. I got Josh Allen pretty late, considering it's a super flex draft. That's how I thought, at least, and then was able to actually get Joe Burrow as the super flex spot quite a bit later. Let's look at it here. Yeah, so we started with Austin Eckler. We end up with Josh Allen, Brees Hall, Deebo Samuel, and Joe Burrow is still there in the fifth round there. That was just too good of a value to pass up. We had two RB spots already loaded up with Eckler and Brees Hall. Brees Hall might not start the season out super fast, so I, was kind of wavering on that pick a little bit, but he still looked like a value to me where all the running backs were starting to go. You can see kind of Henry, Pollard, Barkley, Jacobs, all gone. So I grabbed Brees Hall, who I think is at least the best of these guys who was left when he's healthy, and he'll get healthy. I have some other backs like Javonte Williams should be all systems go for the start of the season. Devon A-Chain might have an increased opportunity at the beginning of the season with Jeff Wilson Jr. down. So I should be able to hold myself over, but I think Brees will be good enough to start week one anyway. So we're looking pretty strong at RB. That's always nice, a nice feeling to have. And like I said, quarterback is by far the strongest position. I mean, I have two top 5 quarterbacks, no matter how you slice it, at least according to everybody's ranks. So that feels okay in a super flex league. I mean, you can see Allen and Burrow, they're going to put up massive points. Here where Burrow got drafted, that's, I actually took Samuel before that. So just thinking about the amount of points I'm going to be able to put up in this spot compared to most people who didn't get a second really high level quarterback who was available pretty late. I think that was the pick of the draft for me, at least, is Joe Burrow. A couple other ones felt pretty good. I snagged a couple more of these like starting receivers that I could get that are projected in the 190s. Really high upside guys. I like that, as especially because Deebo and Chris Godwin. I probably could have started off at receiver a little bit stronger, but my strength is in other spots. So Eckler is a PPR league, so he should finish the top 5 back, assuming he gets used how we've become used to him being used. And yeah, we snagged our guy Purdy there just as a QB3, just because I want to have a claim to him. So we have that option, or maybe one of our quarterbacks goes down. He's still going to be able to jump in and be probably our best super flex option off of the bench here. This Rashee Rice, just kind of looking at the projections here, honestly, and he fit. I don't normally draft based off bye weeks, but with so many receivers we have to start looking at how redundant some of the receivers get, where I have like 2 13s, 2 5. So this was the only guy that I have with a 10 bye week in the receiver spots. And given that he was the highest projected left on Yahoo by quite a bit, he's still one of these 190 guys. I don't really believe that about him, but he's on the Chiefs offense. So they're projecting that he could be Mahomes' favorite guy. Sure, he could be. We all know that'll be Travis Kelce in actuality, though. So I feel pretty good about this. I'm pretty deep at receiver, even though I'm not as stacked at the top of receiver. I have, 7 of them. Feel pretty good about that. We have to start at least 4 every week. I can start up to 6. So if more of these guys break out, these young guys, these Quentin Johnston, Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, those are 3 rookies right there. Rashee Rice, too, 4 rookies right there. And I don't know, I still think of like Marquise Brown as like a young player. who is so boom or bust. He disappears some weeks, but then he comes back and has super long catches for on scoring drives. So yeah, I feel pretty good about my team. Hope you all enjoyed watching the draft. Sorry, not as exciting as a regular episode. Let's see. We got a couple questions. Philly Mike OG says DraftKings question. Should I pivot to Kirk instead of Ridley? Christian Kirk instead of Ridley? I wouldn't necessarily pivot. A lot of people are high on Ridley, but I've been high on Kirk just because we haven't seen it with Ridley and we have seen it with Kirk when it comes to Trevor Lawrence. So I think personally that Kirk is getting underdrafted, whereas Calvin Ridley, he might not be getting overdrafted where he's going in drafts, but the potential to let you down is a lot higher in Ridley than in Kirk, in my opinion. Oh, Kirk, here's the missing part. Kirk is 5,700 and Ridley is 6,500. I mean, I'm not too used to like the auction type of drafts. That's not really my strength. But going off of what I know here, again, I mean, if that $800 makes a big difference to you, then I like Kirk there. I'm not convinced that Ridley. I do think Ridley will be the number one, but I don't know by how much. So yeah, just kind of finishing up on these comments here. Adam says, yeah, Casey, you sniped a few players I wanted in the same round right before me. That happened to me as well. There were a couple that hurt pretty bad. Yeah, because let's see, we weren't quite right next to each other here, Adam. So I couldn't take him right before you exactly, but I know exactly what you mean. That guy who's been sitting at the top of your queue or something for a while, and you're hoping you can get him. There were a couple guys like that worked out for me. In particular, I know I had Marquise Brown up there for a while, and he, in my opinion, should have gone higher. So that worked out pretty well for me. I thought, especially because I was needing to fill those spots, but there were too many good ones left, so I didn't make a run at it. That's why I took Javonte where I did to get that third RB, just kind of really strengthen up that room. Chris Godwin was another one that fell to me okay. Of course, Joe Burrow, that was probably the biggest fall in my mind. Who was it that got taken before? Man, oh, I think it was this one, actually. Coming back to Breece Hall here, I still like Breece Hall, obviously, but this felt like a little bit of a tilt pick on my part. Let's see, you can see I left it at Josh Allen here, and I was considering some other guys there. Or no, I guess here I was going to take Allen, but I was hoping some other guys got back to me. I was actually considering taking Josh Jacobs to get who I think would be a little bit better running back, at least right out of the gate. I already explained kind of my thing with Hall there, where I'm just not so sure he's going to come out week one and be excellent. And I was wondering if I waited on Allen, if either him or Hurts would get back to me. When I took Allen here and then I realized only Hurts went in the next round, no other quarterbacks, I thought, oh no, maybe I reached too much for quarterback. But then so few of them continue to go that 1, 2, 3 rounds later, I was able to take that Joe Burrow, which is right here kind of at the end of this tier. It's always nice to get one of the guys kind of before this, like whether you call it like the Fields, Lawrence, Burrow, I guess, with the injury, the Herbert drop off. There's a pretty big drop off in most people's rankings kind of after this, like Lawrence, Herbert area. And it feels good to actually get two quarterbacks above that. This is not usually how I build my super flex teams. Usually I just want one really strong quarterback and try to like fill in that super flex spot with just whatever my best option is. And it just so happened to be that I could not pass up Joe Burrow there. I think my team is going to be tough to beat if Joe Burrow and Josh Allen both have a good game. Not to say it won't matter what the other guys do, but they're going to be able to put up a ton of points. So we'll see how it actually plays out, though. The thing about Superflex leagues, especially the way that this type of league is set up with the scoring settings that we have, is you never really know. The league can take all kinds of turns, and it's really set up to flow with how people manage them, because no positional group is really more important than the other. That's exactly the goal of this setup of league. Let's see. Adam has some more messages here. Yes, literally top of the queue, and nobody but you was looking. Yeah. I'm curious to see which ones, or hear which ones you are referring to, actually, Adam. Casey, what do you think of my teams? This was my first fantasy football draft. First one this year or first one ever? I mean, congrats. Either way. Let's take a look at Mike's team. Scarlett's powerful machine. Jalen Hurts. I think that was another one of the, again, I just talked about the Allen thing. I was way more stoked on the idea of like getting them here. So you taking Hurts here, especially after Allen went, You were right on the same page as me as far as that went. Jamar Chase, incredible value here. I think you definitely, the rounds that you got to pick before me, you got the better of me for sure. I would prefer Chase over Eckler, Mike, so I love that pick. With those two guys off the board, that's the guy I would have taken. Here, the way your team was looking, that's who I would have taken. You got a stack here with Devonta Smith. So your receivers and quarterbacks looking really strong through here. You go with another receiver here. Pretty good fit, actually. He's going to be able to just provide a nice high floor for you. He's going to get a ton of targets. His best days might be behind him, but Keenan Allen will help strengthen that room, and we got to start a lot of receivers. Ramondre Stevenson, that was actually a guy I had right here. Joe Burrow being there, I would have taken him anyway, but I was wanting coming into this pick. I really wanted like Pierce or Stevenson, and they both went right before me. Let's see what else you got, Mike. Darren Waller. The fact that he's actually a tight end, it depends on how his season goes. If he's the number one guy in that offense, then that's probably a good pick. If not, then it's that one might be your first potential reach, but I know that's like your guy too. A first draft ever, he says. Well, then a great draft. Let me pull up the actual teams now. They should show up over here. Let me see if my team shows up. Oh, you guys can't see this window. I'll share this tab instead. I do have another draft starting in an hour, so I'll have to bounce here pretty quick, guys. But yeah, let's go to Mike's team. I didn't finish Mike's team. Oops. Come on, Yahoo. There we go. All right, let's see what else we got here. I didn't really. So Darren Waller will have to be a starter basically for you every week, unless Mike Evans kind of comes up here. This is last season. Let's take a look at projected stats. It won't let us have projected stats for the whole season. Yes, it will if we go somewhere here. Somewhere. I guess we just lose that view. Okay, well, we'll look through weeks 1 through 4 here. The number should be good enough. So, yeah, you can see here, like Waller, you got Evans after. I don't see what round you took Evans in exactly, but Evans, I agree that with the projections that Evans will probably outscore Waller. So Waller might have been a bit of a reach, but I know you're a Giants guy. And then, yeah, you continued to stack the right positions here with receiver needing to be so deep. Aaron Rodgers is a good quarterback for that. I think you're also one of those. You have a second quarterback strong enough to superflex. Not everybody in the league will. There's not 20 quarterbacks better than what some of the other options will end up being for people because you can plug in literally any position here. AJ Dillon, I'm not a super big fan of. And Jerick McKinnon, very PPR type of back. He's not going to get a lot of run. He'll get some targets, though, for sure. I would say definitely the weakness of your team, Swift, and also not crazy high on. Not sure when you drafted him, though, so you might have gotten a value out of him. I would say the weakness of your team is probably running back, and I think that there's a chance probably that your receivers – I think there's going to be a chance where Mike Evans kind of becomes this actual fourth WT, and Waller, you're probably going to have to make a lot of decisions weekly on whether Waller or one of these guys off your bench is a better actual flex guy. So that's my opinion on that stuff. I don't actually know that any of that will be the case. Certified prods. Not sure who you are. Is your team on here? I'm not sure. Adam wanted Walker. Walker or Waller? Okay. Certified prods. You're not in this league. Let's see. Rate my team. Prescott, Gibson, Ken Walker, CD, Garrett Wilson, D. Waller, Cook in the flex, Jets D. I'm big on the Jets D, so I like that. They're definitely a top 5 defense, at least as far as we can project here, I'd say. Prescott, not my favorite quarterback for sure. I think probably that's not going to be your favorite spot to be. Throughout the season. I mean, he could outperform what I think for sure, but that's just my opinion. Not huge on the Prescott pick, but if you load up at other positions enough, it can be worth it. Gibson. So yeah, I guess Antonio Gibson, Ken Walker, CD, and Garrett Wilson. Obviously, the strength of the team here is in the like young alpha receivers for their team, CD and CD Lamb and Garrett Wilson. Yeah, solid team here. I mean, these aren't my favorite guys. I think I'd probably like to have a little bit more of like a hero RB here. Gibson and Ken Walker. Feels like that room's kind of missing a really strong running back for my tastes. Jared Cook or James Cook in the flex. Okay, yeah, James Cook makes more sense. Yeah, James Cook is probably gonna. I think he'll be in the mix here for starting running back, so that's pretty good. And Darren Waller is a really strong tight end in leagues where you have to have a tight end. So opposite of what I said to Mike, Darren Waller should be a top 5 tight end, I think. Could even finish like top 3, top 2. Maybe he's the guy who unseats Travis Kelce for the first time in like 5 years. So that could be the case. I think I don't know who your backup quarterback would be here, certified prods, but if you have one who's good, I think you should strongly consider streaming your quarterbacks off your bench week to week, playing the matchups of whoever is playing a weaker defense. If you don't have a backup quarterback and there's one available, I would grab him off the waiver wire and again just play those matchups. I'm sure Prescott is going to be playable quite a few times, but there's going to be guys who have better matchups who are probably available in your league. So yeah, Adam wanted Walker. Felix wants us to rate his team. So unless we get more messages here, we'll finish on Felix's team. Again, I don't know why it won't let me look at everything. So if I go to this season, it won't give me that. But we'll just do the same thing here and go weeks 1 through 4. Deshaun Watson is your first quarterback taken. Let's just look at your quarterback situation in general. Deshaun Watson, I have as a top 10 quarterback, so I don't think you have an awful quarterback here. I think you missed out on the top tier and even maybe what I would call the second tier quarterbacks. So you got kind of like a tier 3 quarterback, someone in that like 8 to 10 range probably. He's going to be startable. He's probably your best option, but I like that you did back him up with Anthony Richardson here. Whereas Watson, I think, will come out and be a top 10 guy no matter what, or right around there no matter what. He might not be much more than that, though. Richardson is way more volatile, so he could finish at quarterback 20, or he could actually become one of the top 5 quarterbacks. So you get to kind of chill out with Richardson, either on your bench or just chilling in your super flex. And if Richardson ever takes that step, he's a young rookie now. So if he takes that step forward in the first few games, he might become your best quarterback. And then it's a matter of, do I start Deshaun Watson or one of these other options I have for the super flex spot? So because as it is, I can see there's a lot of strong receivers. You have Travis Kelce, AJ Brown, Cooper Kupp, who you just got to monitor his injury situation. But as your third receiver, that's huge. Drake London probably got underdrafted too, so great job there. Best receiving room we've seen so far. You also grabbed Mike Williams, so he's 5 deep. I mean, he has 5 deep. Felix has 5 receivers as deep as my third receiver, probably, because I think Hollywood Brown was my third, and I think Hollywood and Mike Williams about the same. They were actually in my queue back to back. They went pretty similarly too. I think they went the same round. So Felix went a completely different build here. Najee, I think he went earlier than I expected. I like Najee a lot. I'm not saying he was drafted too early, but mostly I noticed that he tends to slip, and he didn't here. So I think a pretty strong RB, a really solid one there. Alexander Madison's one of those more shaky ground guys to me. I still think he's worth taking the risk on for sure. I would just like to, if I have a guy like him, I like to have another guy kind of like him that I feel like shaky about too, and I hope one of them hits. You kind of have that here in Montgomery, so that worked out pretty well. I think that's a pretty good indicator. It's pretty weak after that at running back. Rachaad White, Elijah Mitchell, I don't expect them to be anything too crazy. Rachaad White, I could be wrong about for sure. And Mitchell, if he's not the main back in his backfield, so it would take an injury for that to work out for him. But then just some nice flyers here. Jacoby Myers was in my queue at the end too. I love that as the last pick. Sky Moore, I mean, I already kind of said it with my Raji Rice pick. I just took him as a flyer in the last round, but I'm not really in on just taking a stab on who might be the next Kansas City guy for Patrick Mahomes. That's just kind of it's a tough dart throw to actually hit the bullseye on. But this team's actually really strong. Definitely the strength is in the receivers. If there's like a trade you need to make to strengthen another position, like maybe the running back position, or probably even more so the quarterback position, in my opinion. Because again, if Richardson doesn't hit, you're probably not sitting with the best quarterback situation. And if Watson goes down and Richardson doesn't hit, then you're really in a tight spot. So I would potentially look at taking, these 5 deep receivers you have. and considering maybe turning it into some value at other positions. So Three Walketeers also wants a rating here. I'm not really like saying which teams I think are the best. I'm just kind of like telling you guys what I think the strengths of the teams are. Three Walketeers. There we go. All right, let's see what we got here for Three Walketeers. Lamar Jackson was another one of those quarterbacks that slipped quite a ways. We don't have that up anymore where that was. I can't see that. I could look at a different thing, I guess. But I just know that it was a super late pick. I think he went like right before Joe Burrow or pretty close to that. I think that was a great pick. Honestly, this is a good quarterback situation and kind of fell into the same thing that I did where you have this like really high floor, hopefully guy. I will say, I think Allen, obviously I took Allen earlier. So I have an even better QB1, but I think Lamar Jackson basically represents the same thing. He's probably a top 5 quarterback if he plays the way we expect him to. So you started out really strong with quarterback, and the way that Herbert was the other guy that fell a lot. Herbert, Lawrence, and Burrow were the 3 like extreme value picks at quarterback because they're high end guys who slipped into the mid rounds. So you did the same thing I did, and you're probably going to have 2 quarterbacks in your lineup every single week. There's probably no way around that with guys that good. So that makes it easier at the other positions. And it makes you feel extra secure at quarterback. It does make you a little bit more volatile than most teams, but it gives you a higher ceiling too. Josh Jacobs, super secure as a number 1 running back. I like that pick a lot. Yeah, he got swiped kind of right before me. I think you snaked him from me kind of there. I was going to pick him before you in one pick, and you got him before it got back to me 6 picks later. Dameon Pierce, I really like pairing him with that. I think Pierce is a great RB2. I was targeting him for RB2. So yeah, we're on the very same page in running backs. In a very similar order as I did. From there in running backs, it seems like there's pretty big gap. I like to have a third guy better than Akers if at all possible. I think I do on my team, but Akers still kind of fits it. I would just say like now instead of having a great RB1, a great RB2, you don't have a great RB3, I would say, but do you need one when you have 2 great running backs? Not necessarily. And you can put a lot of players here at this spot anyway. So Cam Akers does not need to be a starter. Like if for instance, somebody like Michael Thomas kind of becomes who he was again, then yeah, he could end up being more valuable on a weekly basis than Akers, maybe. And we don't really know everything about the Rams backfield yet, so who knows what'll happen there. As far as your actual receivers go, love Justin Jefferson. If you get a chance to draft him, draft him. The only players in the same tier to me, really the only player in the same tier is Jamar Chase. Because I'm a Niners fan, I put Christian McCaffrey there too. But Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase in a full PPR league, they probably should be the 1 and 2 picks in your leagues. This is a full PPR league. The draft I'm doing here in less than an hour, that's a full PPR league. You should take Jefferson and Chase over everybody else. They just have the highest upside, and they did it last year. They absolutely killed it. This is how many points Justin Jefferson scored last year in a PPR league. That's really good. Amon-Ra St. Brown slipped too. I normally don't draft him in mock drafts, and he almost made it to a point where I was going to draft him. If he made it back to my last pick, I think that was a snipe you got on me too. That's right where I was looking at receivers. Amon-Ra St. Brown was almost my number 1 receiver instead of Debo, but you took him, I think, just a couple picks before me. So good job there. Whenever you snake somebody, or whenever you snake me, I feel like it's a good pick. So good job. Christian Kirk, I already talked about Kirk. I think Kirk is a wide receiver 3 here. It's really strong. So through your 3, I mean, you have a stellar wide receiver 1, a stellar wide receiver 2, and maybe not a stellar wide receiver 3, but I still think better than average wide receiver 3. Jerry Judy's where the question marks start coming in, so maybe the depth. I think, honestly, if I'm looking at your team here through Walketeers, every position group is basically the same thing. Your top 2 are incredible at every position. Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, incredible quarterbacks for a 2 quarterback league like this. Josh Jacobs and Dameon Pierce, I think pretty incredible team there too. Justin Jefferson and Amon-Ra St. Brown, incredible pairing. The depth after those guys, not my favorite picks, but hey, if any of them pan out, then great. I do know Michael Thomas was kind of near the top of my queue too. He slipped further than I expected. So I do like the value you got there. And like I said, I do like Christian Kirk. So if like Kirk and Thomas pan out, or if Judy, I just don't really know what's happening with Judy right now. But you got a solid mix. You're pretty deep, 5 deep at receiver too. So receiver is probably your strongest position, even though quarterback is absolutely stacked. And running back is probably your biggest vulnerability. Personally speaking, I wouldn't trust Akers as like, if one of these guys go down, which running backs get hurt more than any other position, I think you're going to lose a lot of production having to plug in Akers every week into one of these spots. And this is a dice roll to me going with Jamal Williams. He scored a ton of touchdowns last year. You see, what is it here? 17 touchdowns. That's not normal. He was on the Lions. He was their goal line back. Now he's on the Saints. Who knows how they're going to use him? Alvin Kamara is going to come back after a few games. So Jamal Williams is valuable for the first few weeks. I would recommend to trade high on him after he has a good first few weeks, because Alvin Kamara is going to come back and kind of really take over all of his workload. So if he has a great week 1, I would say try to trade that guy for a different running back who maybe you thought was better and just you are willing to take a chance on had not a great week 1. If somebody like, I don't know, I'll throw a name out just at random. If Dalvin Cook, let's say, has a really bad week 1, maybe Breece Hall is healthier than we expect and he does more in the backfield for the Jets than we expect, and Dalvin Cook actually isn't as good as we hoped. I would still tend to think like Dalvin Cook is a better guy to have than Jamal Williams. If Jamal Williams scores a touchdown or 2 in the first week and Dalvin Cook doesn't, maybe you can get that owner to swap that with you because they might kind of panic. So that's what I would be looking to do there personally. And you kind of went old as far as receivers go. Odell Beckham, Adam Thielen, and Michael Thomas all on the same team. Those guys are all definitely past their prime. They might be relevant this year, but I don't love having any of those guys really on my teams right now. Michael Thomas would be my preferred one, but I definitely don't like the idea of having more than one of them on a team. Take a gamble on one of them, maybe. These 2 guys or Michael Thomas too. I would, keep whichever one you like the best, but you really can't expect them to break out. And this early in the season, you want potential breakouts. But these guys are still valuable to teams as maybe like higher floor guys. So like personally, I'd be looking at a guy like Michael Thomas, and I'd be interested to trade for Michael Thomas because I don't have, like I already said on my team, I am not super deep through receiver. That's my weak spot. You are strong through receiver. Again, I think it's your strongest position. So these teams that have like 5 solid receivers, especially like Felix's team, even your team, your 3 Walketeers, I'd be interested. Kamara's out for a few games. That's what I was getting to here. So like Jamal Williams will probably have, 3 Walk says Alvin Kamara's out for a few games. Exactly. So I would look to trade Jamal Williams because he's going to have better games when Kamara's not there. So Kamara's gone for 4 weeks, I think it was, or 3 weeks. I can't remember what the suspension was. Either way, Jamal Williams has a chance to really outperform what he'll typically do for the rest of the year. So if he does have good performances, trade him to another team that might not be as aware of that or might believe he can still continue to do it. And I'd try to get a running back that is going to have a little bit higher floor. You have a lot of high floor receivers here on your bench. I don't think you have very many high floor running backs after your first 2. So that'd be what I'd look to fix. But I mean, great team. Great team, really. Probably pound for pound, I'd say maybe the best team we've looked at. I don't know. That's just a lot of players that I end up with on my teams are on this squad. So, okay, I think that was everybody who asked for a rating. I'm going to just take another quick look at my team here. Yeah, see, I have like Addison, who is a weekly starter for me right now, and I don't really know how that's going to go. So we'll see. I have quite a few. You can see I'm practicing what I preach, whereas 3 Walketeers, you had Michael Thomas, Adam Thielen, and OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr. I don't like to load up my bench with those older receivers because, yes, they'll be okay, but I want guys that I feel okay about dropping, but who also might break out. So Rashee Rice, Quentin Johnson, Zay Flowers, even Devon A-Chain. He's not a receiver, but he's a kind of a high potential running back, and he's a rookie too. Javonte Williams was a rookie last year, didn't play much, and he's also suspended. I think he'll be a sneaky okay pick, or not Javonte Williams. I'm thinking of Jamison Williams. Jordan Addison, though, another rookie receiver. So yeah, I loaded up once I kind of had like the locked in starters. I'm loading up on young guys looking for a breakout, because if Rashee Rice, Quentin Johnson, Zay Flowers, or Jordan Addison breaks out, that's 4 dart throws I made at rookie receivers, all supposed to be in the top 2 on their top 2 or 3 on their team. If any of them break out, that's my new number 4 receiver. And if 2 of them break out, I got a loaded in flex guy. And like I said, I think I do have a little bit better running back room than most in this league, but I mean, I could eat those words for sure too. I got 3 guys I feel pretty confident in, and then took a big swing on Devon Achane. That's my draft. Guys, thanks for watching the Triple Cross podcast 2023 fantasy football draft. Yeah, I got another draft to get ready for, so I will catch you guys later.